Welcome to spring. It is spring has sprung, the grass is riz, and we wonder where the flowers is. Welcome to Unity in Ashland. We're so happy to have all of you here with us today. Is anyone here for the very first time? Just raise your hand. Raise them high so we can all see. We'd just like to acknowledge people here for the first time so we can greet them afterwards. So welcome. Let's give them a round of applause. We'd like to start with just a few Unity announcements, and I just want to say that we always have our prayer circle on Monday evenings at 5 o'clock right here at the Havara in the back room. You're all welcome to attend. And if you have anything heavy on your heart you would like prayers for, please fill out a prayer request form on the back table and put it in the prayer box, the little wooden box back there. And if you need someone to pray with you one-on-one afterwards, I'm available. Are there any other chaplains that would be available for that? Just see me afterwards if you would like me to sit with you for a few moments. Also, we have a Buddhist meditation that happens on Fridays at 1:30. It's at the Ashley Senior Apartments. For more information, it's a wonderful thing, I hear, and for more information, check with Kathy, our board president. She can give you more information about how to get there and what it's like. I know that the food angels need to be out of the building by 12:30, or they need to be wrapped up by 12:15. So after the service, please, everyone, head back there and have refreshments and greet our newcomers and greet each other so that we can actually let the food angels wrap up by that time. Let's see. I'll also, afterwards, make sure you check out this beautiful altar. Every week we have a beautiful altar by Natasha. Where's Natasha? There she is. Lovely. Very artistic. We also have some artwork in the back on the back table. This is by David and Kyle. Where's David and Kyle? Raise your hands. All the way in the back row, or stand up, yes, they are visiting from Santa Barbara, and they have some beautiful, beautiful nature photography back there. And they're going to be contributing to Unity. So please, afterwards, head back to the table. They'll greet you back there and purchase or just enjoy taking in the energy of that beautiful artwork. Thank you. Well, I think we're going to be hearing from Norma today about Choice Point. And you know, we have a choice right now. The choice is, do I leave my cell phone on? Do I turn it off? Do I leave it on? Do I turn it off? I think you'll make the right choice. At least I hope you will. If we don't hear it in the service, we know that you did. Okay, we're going to have Francie come up before, and then we'll have the children come up. But Francie has an announcement to make.
Good morning. Nice to see you all. And thank you for sending your beautiful children to us. We love them dearly and treasure them. A couple of quick announcements. One is that we are starting an advertisement, a marketing approach for our children's program, and we'd like to have some quotes from parents or those of you who have come in and been part of the children's program about what it means to you, what you like about it, and that sort of thing. So if you would either find me or Kathy after the service, or get our emails and email that to us, we'd really appreciate it. That'd be great. Yes?
Get some quotes from kids, too.
Oh, that's a great idea. Great. Yes, the kids too. Kids, you come up and tell us. Okay. We had a talk with the Havara, and there are several things that we need to do and work out in our room, and one of them that they've asked us to do is have a cabinet with doors so that things are put away behind closed doors. It makes it easier for everybody, and it makes for better feng shui in the room. So we're looking for somebody who has one of those cabinets in their garage that you are wondering what to do with. So if you have something like that, please let us know. I also have at the back a piece of paper that says that you're interested in helping us with the children's program, which is something we desperately need. So you could write on that if you had something about a cabinet. Excuse me, I'll get that in a minute. Okay. And for those of you who have children 7 and older and would be interested in having your kids go to a Unity camp, it's north of Seattle. I have all that information on my computer. I'd be happy to send it to you. Maybe some of you might have grandchildren. Thanks so much.
Okay, so we're going to have the children come up.
Children?
Yeah, children. And, you know, we have some wonder. We're going to do this a cappella today, and Francie is going to lead us in the song, isn't she, Francie?
I'm sorry?
You're going to lead us in the song. We sing the face of God. We do, and while they're coming up, let me just say we have some wonderful musicians today. Dan and Jackie from Patchy Adams. Patchy Adams, oh gosh. I don't know if I said that, Patchy Sanders group. And they have some CDs in the back on the table right near the prayer box. And you're going to want to take them home with you as well. So, are the children all up here? Okay.
So, would you mind helping? Sure. That'd be great. Get us started. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
So let's just sing it one more time as they are leaving to go back with their teachers, or hum it as they go.
Face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
And now let's give a warm welcome to our beloved Reverend Norma.
One more announcement, and that is that we're looking for people who are technologically skilled to help us to do the filming on Sundays and to upload the filming to the internet. So if any of you out there are skilled in that way or would like to become, it's a training that we can give you in terms of the filming, but the uploading it takes some know-how. So anyway, spread the word that we're looking for that help. Thank you. So now let's settle into our sacred space together. And as you've probably been hearing, there's been a lot going on in the celestial realms over the last few days. If you've been looking for a change, the universe has just delivered. 2 days ago, 3 extraordinary celestial events occurred. The spring equinox, accompanied by a total eclipse of the sun, by the new moon, which was also a supermoon. So you can just hear the saying of that even, that it packs a wallop. Some are saying that this powerful triad of celestial events is igniting a major turning point in our lives on planet Earth. We're blessed people to have lived through several of these prophetic things, you know. The equinoxes and the solstices have always been considered the 4 most powerful days of the year in our solar-based Western astrology, and as such they represent huge portals capable of providing access to energies that can help us to overcome resistance and launch our intentions in a powerful way, right? At the spring equinox, can you picture what's happening? The sun is poised at the plane of the equator, leaning neither north nor south. And just for a little while right there, it's exerting a strong pull on the Earth's magnetic and gravitational fields. And when the new moon is involved in this too, the moon is also pulling on the gravitational field of the Earth. So in ancient times, there were many temples that were created to mark and take advantage of and hone in on these moments of solar balance. The Sphinx, the Great Pyramid of Giza, Angkor Wat in Cambodia, Tikal in Guatemala, the Cairn of Tea at Newgrange in Ireland, to name just a few. So ancient peoples put a lot of energy into marking these kinds of events. A total solar eclipse during a March equinox is a truly rare event. The last one was in 1681. And after the 21st century, the next occurrence won't be again until 2387. But even more unusual is that we're actually the ones living in a unique century, which they say may only come every 100,000 years, in which the equinox and solar eclipse will converge 4 times in the century. Some say this is the 4 blood red moons, mentioned by the prophet Joel several hundred years before the birth of Christ and later in the book of Revelation, heralding the second coming of Christ. The 4 blood red moons. In the Times newspaper of Israel, it said this week, today's eclipse is said to be a once in 100,000 year event, a rarity of the fact the rarity of that fact surely means something very unusual is happening with the skies. What's more, we're only 2 weeks away from the next blood moon to land on April 4th, the first full day of Passover. Very significant, they say, that these blood moons are lining up with the holy days in the Hebrew and Christian calendar. Such lunar events, again, this article says, are almost like the opening and closing of a chapter with big picture spiritual meaning. So they put out a worldwide call to prayer, because they say that surely events like this in the skies indicate that the finger of God is moving in history. Some say it's like we're being collectively called to the temple. Called to the temple. Called to pray. Called to envision a whole new way and to enact these new ways together. This is what I want to talk to you about today. So we're going to have our first song now, and the first song is about, and we're weaving the songs of this theme throughout, that there come these times when we are born again, when things happen to us that are really big and that really transform our lives. So thank you, Jackie and Dan.
Thanks for having us. I was born in the rivers, I was born in the sea. Nobody's gonna take my love away from me. I was raised in the mountains and I sprouted from the cliffs. My roots go deep, I am sure of this. I was born in the rivers, I was born in the sea. Nobody's gonna take my love away from me. I was raised in the mountains and I sprouted from the cliffs. My roots go deep, I am sure of this. Oh, oh, I made a statue in the sun. I carved a stone for you, my love, my friends, my everyone. I was born in the lakes, I had an angel for a friend. When I leave, we may cry, but I'll see her again. was born in the valleys in a cup formed by hands. I drank her river's water, now my death I understand.
So you see, you go out to nature when you're called to pray sometimes. Do you go out to nature when you're called to pray? You never know what's going to happen when you go out to nature, right? You never really know what's going to happen on planet Earth when all these natural events are occurring and these things in the sky happen. But I love what that song says, because there's something deep inside of us that assures us that our love is never going to get taken away. It's only going to be made to grow. So I've asked Karen to come and read a poem by Mary Oliver. Mary Oliver, you know who she is, right? She's a poet who always goes out to nature. She gets all her inspiration from nature. And this is a great reminder of what we need to do in times like this. It's called The Morning Poem. I'm going to stand by you.
She knows I'm not very computer savvy. Morning poem. Every morning the world is created. Under the orange sticks of the sun, the heaped ashes of the night turn into leaves again and fasten themselves to high branches. And the ponds appear like black cloth on which are painted islands of summer lilies. It is your nature to be happy. You will swim away along the soft trails for hours, your imagination alighting everywhere. And if your spirit carries within it the thorn that is heavier than the lead, if it's all you can do to keep on trudging, there is still, somewhere deep within you, a beast shouting that the earth is exactly what it wanted. Each pond with its bracing lilies is a prayer heard and answered lavishly every morning. Whether or not you have ever dared to be happy, whether or not you have ever dared to pray.
Our next song is another song that's about love and letting go. It's called The Duet.
On shore and nobody was safe. And we started running thinking we'd be okay. But we tripped and fell behind the door.
The wall, you're rushing so.
Surprise, surprise, to my hazel eyes. The clouds hung low and we were waiting to die. There's no escape, there's nowhere we can hide. The sea so loud, our voices cry.
I hope this won't last long. La, 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 la,
And hold me close, and I'll hold you too. We'll die like lovers would love to do. And my last breath would be the same as you. Your coffee eyes and your crooked tooth.
your hazel eyes, your birthday suit. La, 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 la.
So soft we are, just like the curves of a harp. My chest like a drum, like a smoking cigar.
My bones, my body, my delicate heart.
My darling love, my oldest friend.
Why must we say goodbye again?
One day we'll die like lovers do.
You remember me,
I'll remember you. La, 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 la.
Such beauty, right? That song reminds me about the fact that oftentimes humans build things and make things of great beauty right in the midst of great cataclysm, great letting go. A lot of the temples that humans have been inspired to build all over the planet, these magnificent spiritual meeting places to honor the sacred ground, to honor love, were built during very hard times. I think building a temple is an action that we can do to show spirit that we're taking it all seriously, and yet we are still celebrating life in the midst of whatever happens. I think maybe this is what speaks to my sense of an urgent call to establish an earth temple here in Ashland. It comes from a similar place, that we would be a beacon of new ways as old ways are crumbling. That we would be a place where we're having an opportunity to show how our ways of living honor the earth, and that we are teaching one another and our children trusting ways to live, and that we're trusting our intuition, and that we're establishing these zones where we can practice these things and even practice the new economics. A place where we could maybe even live like the King of Bhutan is talking about, where our gross national product is happiness. Where we can align with people around the world like that and have our city be a city of peace, a beacon of living these new ways, these new economics of peace in this world. Our temple, called to pray at this time, enacting, not just visioning, but a time of enacting is coming forth. Last week I was talking to you about tithing and creating a spiritual container that can hold all that we want to do through our tithes, that we're the only place that all, whatever we have resources to do with is going to come from. We're it. And so we were talking about not undermining tithing by saying it was never ordered in the Bible, for example, but saying that we should give even beyond what we would consider a tithe or a tenth. Because something's happening right now. We are here, we've got the limited time that we have to live here, and something magnificent is happening. And we're here to be the stewards of it, to steward our ship. When I think of stewardship, it's like stewarding our ship all the way through to the shore. We're stewarding our little earth ship of unity here, and maybe hopefully through our earth temple, but we're also stewards of what's happening on this planet. So this week I want to talk to you about stewardship and how the home that we are sailing our ship toward is the glorious shore of reciprocity. So sometimes we've got to keep encouraging each other so that we'll really get there, really get there. I was on a walk with my daughter this week, and we wanted to go on a new trail we'd never been on before. And that's kind of what's happening on planet Earth right now. We're really getting tired of the old trails, and we're saying, let's go on a new trail we've never been on before. So you know that's pretty risky. Luckily, we had a good amount of water with us. And I wouldn't say I had the most comfortable shoes, but we set out, and we couldn't find the trail markers at a certain point, and so we just had to do the best we could, and we were gone for hours. And through it all, though, we had this sense that we were going to make it, and that somehow love was going to carry us through, and that it was worth it, you know? And sometimes you don't have that on a walk, but I'm really thankful that we did, because it was a long walk, and it was hard to get all the way to the end of it. And the last little bit of it was even, the trail marker came up again, it was called the Rocky Road. And it was really rocky all the way till we got to the end. And the last little bit of the path was called the spiritual path. So it kind of brought it all home, you know, that metaphor of that kind of walk. So I've asked Michelle to come and read a wonderful poem for us that's called Getting There. Computer, it just takes a minute.
Getting There by David Wagner. You take a final step and look, suddenly you're there. You've arrived. At one place, all your drudgery was aimed for, this common ground where you stretch out, pressing your cheek to the sandstone. What did you want to be? You'll remember soon. You'll feel like tinder under the burning glass, a luminous point of change. The sky is pulsing against the cracked horizon. I might need help.
Yeah, because it doesn't work that way. Remember?
What did you want to be? You'll remember soon. You'll feel like tinder under the burning glass, a luminous point of change. The sky is pulsing against the cracked horizon, holding it firm until the arrival of the stars, the time with your heartbeats. Like wind etching rock, you've made a lasting impression on the self you were by having come all this way through all this weather, under your own power, through your traces on a map, would make an unpromising, meandering lifeline. What have you learned so far? You'll find out later, telling it haltingly like a dream, the lost traveler's dream under the last hill, where through the night you'll take your time out of mind to unburden yourself of elements along elementary paths by the break of morning. You've earned this worn down, hard, incredible sight called here and now. Now, what you make of it means everything, means starting over. The life in your hands is either here nor there, but getting there. So you're standing again and breathing, beginning another journey without regret, forever being your own peaceable kingdom, the end of endings.
You can hear how that relates to our subject. A journey without regret. A journey without regret. Your life, a journey without regret. Our lives as humans on planet Earth, journeys without regret. Being our own peaceable kingdom. The end of endings. Oh, I chose that poem because it tells us that this eclipse, combined with the equinox, is called, did some of you read it? The end of endings. The end of endings. I'll be talking about that more in just a minute. What could that mean for us? But we're going to celebrate this idea of the end of endings with this wonderful song that is by Johnny Cash, right? And it's about leaping into the fire, like going for it, because we are at the end of the endings, and this is it. We've got to move along here, you know. So that's the energy of this eclipse. So let's hear how this redux of this Johnny Cash song gives us a little inspiration and encouragement.
You'll recognize it by the chorus. Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by my wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. And I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went high, and it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire. The taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours meet. And I fell for you like a child. Oh, and the fire went wild. And I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went high. And it burns, burns, burns. 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 The ring of fire.
Now, how did they do that? Almost make the Ring of Fire feel inviting and feel kind of fun even. It's amazing what you did with that song. It reminded me of a dream I had once. I was in a church with familiar people, and then I got this calling, this sense of needing to move. And I was moving toward the front of the church, and everyone started to follow me. And we were headed toward the wall, and there was just a wall there. I didn't know what was going to happen, but a ring of fire opened up. And it dissolved the wall, and I walked through it, and we were all there in a jungle. And there was an old black woman there, and she was leaning over a hole in the earth, a big hole. And it was a little bit scary feeling, but we walked up to it, and I peered down in the hole, and there was lava and fire, and it was like looking into the cauldron of transformation. And I realized there was no turning back. And it was kind of a scary feeling, and yet really exciting, kind of like that song brings forth. And I went ahead and leaped into the deeper hole of fire. Wow! There had to be a lot of build-up to that, right? To that leap. And there's been a lot of buildup on planet Earth and during these last years of our lives towards giving us the courage to take a great leap now. That's what we're up against, a wall that looks like a solid wall. Jung calls it the impossible situation. And what are we going to do? And there's something that's going to happen that's happened before, like when Jesus walked through the wall after the resurrection and people experienced him doing that. Somehow these things shall we do and greater than these. And there's going to be unusual occurrences happening. This next song, when Jackie and Dan first told me about it, it's got this line in it about vultures. And I thought, can we really sing a song about vultures in church? But they have, you can explain it when you come up, but they have a definition that comes from the Latin about what a vulture really is. But as I was thinking about the lyrics for this song, it really so fit what we're talking about today. And then a most magical thing happened. Right after I was on the computer and had read the song list that they sent me, I went for a walk and met up with this woman named Andrea. Are you here today, Andrea? She comes to Unity sometimes. And what did she tell me? What did come out of her mouth? She said, did you know that at this time of year, there's a special Native American prayer that's especially from this part of the country, that they pray over and over again right around the equinox for the welcoming of the vultures.
Wow.
To this land. And that they didn't see the vultures as a bad thing. They saw them as wonderful harbingers of cleansing and purification. And so here's this song. We celebrate the vultures right at the right time of year.
Wow. So when I first was writing this song, it was a love song to the Pacific Ocean. I read about or saw a video about all the plastic, the garbage that's in the ocean, and I thought, wow, vulture would be good. A plastic-eating vulture would be really good. And then I read the Latin name of the typical American red-headed vulture, turkey vulture, is Cathartes aurea, which means golden purifier. And that kind of sealed the deal for me right there. And they are migrating back to this part of the world right now. The song is called 84. 81, 82, 83, 84. So easy to mend if she'd read and reread the love letters we send, all posted and packaged in the sweet smell of scent, the oil of roses and the pearls of oysters, found thousands of feet below. The shorebird so far from home, an ocean of whales, their eyes boiling the moon, all silvered and glinting like golden day moon. My dear, my darling, true love never wounds, silence underwater. Blessings on their arms, who's carving the solid ground. St. Francis, he's flying around. I'm beginning to see him now. Vultures, they're counting sheep.
Vultures are counting.
I trust them with everything. And the vultures, they're counting sheep.
Vultures are counting.
I remembering we're all innocent and trusting. Oh. Got me smitten, my darling, and I can't ever believe in what I want to. Really, what I want to. I'm safe and accounted for. I know what I'm singing for. I'm living and I want more. And I see the vultures, they're counting sheep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I trust them with
Everything.
and the vultures, they're counting sheep. I remembering we're all innocent and trusting.
We are innocent and trusting. When they sang that in the practice session, you ended by saying, "That's a good song to sing in church." So the vulture song is a good song to sing here, because we're here to remind one another that that is the stance that we're taking. We are innocent and trusting with all that is occurring. We're being told that this triad of celestial events is one of the final doors that we're going through. The completion is here, the end of the endings. This event is the walking through the fires of purification into a new time. And we're being told, do not be afraid, for we are with you. Metaphorically, this is a quote from one of the astrologers, this eclipse is like turning the water valve on a pressure washer full blast, which will wash away whatever needs to be let go of over the next 6 months. An interesting fact about the exact time of the spring equinox at 3:45 p.m. Pacific time is that it was roughly 13 hours after the solar eclipse. So I titled my talk today, After the Eclipse. We're living in the times now after this eclipse. This is very interesting because usually solar eclipses and equinoxes are both associated with new beginnings. Yet the actual moment of the eclipse happened at the tail end of the entire zodiac in late Pisces at 29 degrees. That's the end point of not just Pisces, but of the entire zodiac and of the entire Piscean era. At 29 degrees, therefore, this is associated with permanent endings, sometimes through crises. Another way of saying this is that it can be viewed as a new beginning for certain things that people have been trying to bring to an end or just simply need to end, resulting then in a permanent ending so that the new beginning can really take place. That's kind of a twisted way of saying what I'm trying to say here, right? Things need to end, really, really end, before a new beginning can take place. Astrologers are saying we can expect these themes of cleansing and endings to affect us in a powerful way, not only in this whole month after the eclipse, but throughout the entire year of 2015. We're going to be feeling the effects of this. Some are saying it's a whole systems reboot. At the exact point of the eclipse, the moon crossed paths with the sun and created a burst of energy. The electromagnetic fields of the earth were directly affected, and scientists all over the planet were studying this so that they actually measured how the power grids of the earth were affected. And it said that all over Europe, the electricity waned for a short while. It's possible that we too could be feeling this potential of a total system reboot in ourselves as a result of this intense and energizing moment. How many times have we dealt with electronic snafus, right, in our computers or something, and said to ourselves, time to reboot? It's the thing we tend to do when there are no other options available to fix the problem. Reboots always seem to correct or eliminate the strangest of problems in a quick instant with our electronics. Wouldn't it be something if we could do the same thing in our lives and for the earth? The secret truth now being revealed is that we can. There are certain times during the cycles of the year where we can tap into this resetting, rebooting type energy. This March solar eclipse is precisely that, a time to restart and begin anew. And we're used to this as humans. We celebrate it every year. We celebrate new beginnings are possible at the new year. They're possible in the spring. It's like rebooting our gadgets. In a way, we're all about to hit the on-off switch on ourselves, on our human consciousness, and have a chance to wipe the slate clean. Whether you realize it or not, a fresh start is happening now on this planet, all around us. Because just like there are cycles in every year, we're being shown and taught that there are these grand cycles of time that are turning. And we are in a grand rebooting moment. Are you able to see the potential in your own life of this? This is a great time to set your intentions for your life, make amends, and to look forward to major new beginnings. It's also a time to create a good container for how you wish to show up. In other words, maybe you need to do exercise more, or maybe you need to meditate more, or maybe you need more friends. What do you need to have a really good container in which this new way of being, you, can show up? It's a powerful time to anchor this new energy, this new start. The eclipse is intensifying everything. So it's not just the equinox, but it's the eclipse. And the eclipse tells us, be careful what you ask for and how you ask for it as you're thinking of this new time. Make sure that you're not unconsciously asking for something you don't really want. Okay? Make sure you're not unconsciously asking for something you don't really want. Because with Mars and Venus conjunct right now, male, female, the dualisms are there. It's a tricky time emotionally, where fuses can be short and people can be reactionary. So you might just react in a moment and say, I really wish this, or I wish that, But there's a lot of energy that can either be used for good or for conflict right now in our world, and you can see that in the world events as they're lining up. So we're being told, make sure that our intentions are not based on any old leftover limbic system negative reaction, but rather that our inspirations and desires are truly for positive growth in ourselves and on our planet. So we're asked to be considering what we've got to let go of. All this talk today about purification. We've been practicing letting go in all of our rituals and ceremonies, and for a long time in our lives, really taking it seriously. But what do we have to let go of now? Well, they're telling us that it's the final moment of letting go of our old stories of the way things have been. All of our old stories are really ready to go now. We've been telling them and dragging them around for a long time now on planet Earth. And if we're called to the temple right now, as a metaphor for this powerful astrological configuration, you don't want to bring your poor old me stories to the temple, to this new temple. You don't want to bring your hurts and your wrongs, things that have been done wrong to you, and all of that into the sacred space. So it's really time now to make ourselves available for this renewal, for this reboot, and to let go of our old stories. So whatever remnant of victim stories we have, it's time. We really can let them go, and you really will be okay. You don't need them anymore to protect yourself with. The eclipse moment momentarily has, it said that it reset the light coming from the sun. So it somehow has shifted our perspective in a major way, reminding us all that divine order for our planet will be done. Reset. It's an excellent time to move into a more powerful place in your own life. The only price of moving into this powerful place is letting go and eliminating something in your life that's been holding you back. So I want you to think a little bit more in detail right now about, is there anything left that has been holding you back? Anything. At home or at work, something from the past that you haven't forgiven, an old emotional wound, a past regret, a judgment, a disappointment. Eliminate these energy leaks now. I know I haven't wanted to do spiritual bypass. We've talked about not doing spiritual bypasses in the past, but this is a moment when we're being helped. We're being given the freedom to move forward in our lives in a much more powerful way. And we have a lot of allies that are helping us to do this right now. We have so much support within our reach to do this. Because as we complete the zodiac cycle with both the sun and moon in Pisces in all their fullness in the 29th degree, Pisces is one of the most watery signs. And that means that we have a lot of emotional help right now. Our emotional bodies are being soothed. We can deepen into our emotional bodies. Pisces is the dissolver of all boundaries. Just feel that oceanic kind of feeling. It was in one of the songs this morning about the rivers. We're one with the rivers. We're one with the ocean. This unifying feeling that Pisces brings us really does help us to overcome any remnant dualisms that we've gotten stuck in our minds, and to move into empathy and compassion and emerging a really feeling of our oneness with one another, a divine union, a divine reciprocity that's really possible now again on this planet. I remember hearing Grandma Aggie, you know Grandma Aggie Baker Pilgrim, you know who she is? She's the old grandmother of the Takelma people from this area, and she lives just past, near Grants Pass. And she's one of the founders of the 13 grandmothers who travel all over the world. They even went to talk to the Pope, you know. And she said, we will be moving again into a time of great reciprocity. That's what needs to be restored. And that year she started talking about reciprocity. She also started talking about the waters. She said, something is happening with the waters on planet Earth. It's helping us. Here we are in Pisces, the most spiritual aspect of ourselves and of the zodiac is offering us this gift of surrendering now, of letting go, of merging into the great waters of change and letting go of our mini minds into a larger power. So here's where intuition reigns in Pisces, and faith and belief and abundance and love find fertile ground within us. Make no mistake, publicly standing in the truth of the invisible world that Pisces is reminding us of. Surrendering to spirit makes you eccentric and vulnerable in our culture that's so based on scientific proof. But with this greater vulnerability, engendered by our surrender to what is greater than our individual selves, and the willingness to dream really radical new dreams of connection and respect for our beautiful mother planet, a way is opening. A way is opening for each one of us to manifest and hold tremendous power. When I first came here, now 11 years ago, our first service, Leslie Lightfall was here, and I take it as a sign that she just returned this past week, and she comes from New Zealand and across the great waters, and that first Sunday that I was here, she led us in Maori chants about the ocean. And you know the Maoris are the one who have the great whale rider, in that movie about the girl who got the vision of being able to bring back feminine power and be a whale rider. So there's something happening. There really is something happening. These synchronicities are coming. And we're being called to be trusting like serpents who molt out of a skin that's too tight for us. There's a momentary vulnerability with that, right? When the snake molts. But it leads to it being a bigger snake with a lot more power and freedom of movement. So the lesson in this 29th degree Pisces eclipse is surrender. That leads to vulnerability, that leads to great spiritual power for connection and healing all across our planet. In Pisces, our prayers are more powerful. No wonder the Jewish people, looking at the signs, are saying it's a call to prayer. Our prayers are more powerful and easily answered right now. They could even be answered in the blink of an eye, one astrologer said. I had a dream once. So many great dreams, right? That we were coming to these end times, and that is just what happened. That it was as if there were groups of us on planet Earth that were readying ourselves and stepping into our fullest, best selves. And it was like a veil fell away. and we knew who we were. We really knew, and we looked at each other and go, wow, it's you. I recognize you, and you recognize me, and we're here. We're here, right in the right moment, right at the right place, and we know what we've each got to do. And we're enabling one another to do it, and we're setting about doing it, and we're all like of a piece, like a tribe. And then what I saw was that it was as if some energies, some beings the Hopi might have called our brothers and sisters, came and linked with us, maybe our allies. I don't know exactly what this means. It's a great mystery. But they linked with us like this, and there was a click, click. And everything changed in the twinkling of an eye. So years ago, I was afraid to say my dreams. I just held them within and didn't really talk about them to anybody. But things are happening now that are having, it's as if I'm reading my dreams on the internet everywhere, because it's all out there now. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's knowing it. We're shifting gears into a whole new territory. There's always an element of mystery, right, when we're going into a whole new zone, and so there can be a lot of fear when we embark on something so new. But no matter if you decide to jump in feet first or just poke one toe in, the universal tools are available for us. They're here to help us. This solar eclipse delivers the system reboot that we all need to help us get to wherever we're going next. And it also brings us the wherewithal to do it. So the grace is flowing from the heavens themselves to help us steward this earth ship home. Just want to talk to you a little bit more about prosperity thinking. Now, we're in this theme right now about money, and last week our last song was Money is Coming to Us Easily and Effortlessly, and New Thought has been a lot about prosperity thinking. And I like to remind us that we each define prosperity individually, and it means different things to different people. So you've got to hang with that, that we each have our own ways of being prosperous. So this isn't about my definition of prosperity or even society's definition. It's about yours. So I want you, as I talk about this, to be defining it for yourself. I want to tackle this overly popular topic for just a minute here, because it really relates to what's happening, to everything I've been talking about the signs from the heavens. Because I really do believe that the prosperity of the universe is available to us in a greater way than it's ever been available before. Let's just consider an old story that we might be getting rid of right now about prosperity. You've got to trade peace for prosperity. Doesn't that sound, when you hear that, that's an old story being told on planet Earth, being told by our governments and our nations. You might not be able to have peace right now if you're going to protect our prosperity of our nation. Much of the news that we're hearing and the politics that we're seeing would try to convince us that we have to trade peace for prosperity, that we have to fight to protect, fight to save, fight to keep our beliefs, fight to keep our religion, fight to keep what we've got, and that we have to sacrifice and give up a lot to protect ourselves, our nation, our beliefs. Chances are, deep down inside of us, that we still might harbor some remnant of this belief that we've got to protect ourselves. Chances are, we've applied all the traditional wisdoms, we've read inspirational passages, we've studied New Thought teachings, and we've tried to talk positive self-talk to ourselves, and still there might be a little lingering fear, this pesky belief that's sticky wicket, that just won't unstick. And that's because until we look this beast in the eye and find that it's actually just a traumatized, confused little monster, it's going to keep coming around. This belief permeates our culture and our minds, and whether we like it or not, it's one of the old stories that's a pretty deep imprint in all of us. And it keeps showing up again and again. But this belief that peace and prosperity don't fit together, when given a voice, might sound like this on the personal level. This is the old story. You can't make a good living without killing yourself for it. Even if you do what you love, you have to work really, really hard to make a good living. There's a price to pay for success, you know, and that price is your peace and your free time. In order to get what you really need and want, you'll have to take on a lot of stress and overwhelming tasks. Just take a deep sigh. I know I have felt that way. Have you felt that way sometimes? Well, all of these type of thoughts culminate in this general belief that we've got to trade away our peace and our freedom in exchange for prosperity and success. So do we want to believe this, even on a low-lying level? If we do, we're still going to be creating stress and discomfort and dis-ease in our lives. And we'll still be justifying and defending our worth. I'm going to skip over some here, but as much as we attach to that old story, we're holding back the grace that's flowing in right now. There's generosity full-blown, pouring into us right now. And we should not be holding back on our own self-care right now. Because at some level, deep inside of us, we've got to let go of this old belief that it's just by our human blood, sweat, and tears that things come about. Right? That's a draining thought. You get this? The prosperity that's coming in is not at the expense of our peace. We can't keep believing that one essentially costs you the other. Because this is a no-win situation. True prosperity can never come at the expense of peace and happiness. It will come because of our peace and happiness. True prosperity will not come as something separate from our joy and our peace. It will come as a natural byproduct of our joy and our peace. This is true prosperity. It comes not in spite of joy and peace, but because of it. This I know from my own experience. And here at Unity, when you get involved on the board or in a committee, we say to you, don't try this out. Don't do anything that isn't joyful, that isn't happy for you. And let's see how everything gets done. The Latin word prosperous, after all, means doing well or flourishing. Prosperous, flourishing. So this is a time when we're entering into not just surviving as a species or surviving on planet Earth. And I can't emphasize this to you enough. I think what's happening is that we're really moving into a new perspective, that it's really rising in our human consciousness, and that we're letting go of the weight and the leaking of our energy that's been going on, that we have thought that we've had to do it all, and that we're not in connection and that we're separate. We've got to redo this thinking. We don't have to trade our peace and our freedom for prosperity. It's an old belief that keeps us from what is true. This is where we start right now after the eclipse. If we can, let's go for it in every aspect of our life to dismantle this belief. Every day, when everything happens, when we're walking on the rocky road, stay in touch with this deeper inner knowing, this deeper love. And then we won't focus on fear or on blame, like, I wish you wouldn't have told me to take this path, or but we're going to be focusing on cleansing and letting go. Maybe we've got to let go of something we're carrying to make it. And we're going to get all the way there. We're going to steward our ship all the way to the other shore while being who we truly are, more than we've ever been, while being more joyful, more happy, more one with one another than we've ever been. We're somehow making it all the way to this other shore. Get ready. because we're about to reboot. Thank you. So we're going to take the offering now, and while we do, we've got another wonderful song. What's the name of this song again? When You Were Born. When You Were Born. So after the eclipse, when you were born, this is what happens next.
When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice.
You guys can sing along if you want
When
to.
you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice.
When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice.
When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. The world cries and you rejoice. The world cries and you rejoice. The world cries and you rejoice.
Norma, would you like to introduce our new treasurer?
Oh, great. Our old wonderful treasurer, Marta. Our young wonderful treasurer, Marta. And our young wonderful treasurer, Steve. Passing of the baton is going on here pretty soon, and we just thank you, Marta, for holding up the baton and helping us through all this time. Joyful work, and it's a really important work that takes place. And thank you, Steve, for being willing to take it on.
Right on, Steve.
We say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And you can hear in that prayer the divine reciprocity. We've been praying it and seeing it happening for a long time, and it's really what is returning. I just want to acknowledge the beautiful altar, because through this whole time that I've been up here, I've been feeling the energy of it. And thank you, Natasha, so much for every week for symbolizing what's happening in our midst. And see how she has the cycles of the moon here? And the dark of the moon was what just happened at the new moon. In the eclipse, it was the dark of the moon that covered over the sun. And that's why it's called the blood red moon, because it's not the bright full moon light of the moon that was coming through. It was the light of the sun reflecting on the moon, and it was a red moon where it could be seen. It was a red moon because of it being the dark moon. So I'd love for us to get in our big circle now. And let me talk to you for a minute as you're circling up. Sometimes when we get in the big circle, I have us picture in the center the earth, and we send our blessings to the earth. But today I want us to picture in the center of our circle the celestial occurrence that just happened, and picture the new moon, the dark moon, in the center of our circle. The dark moon. Sometimes astrologers call it Lilith, the dark feminine. So we picture the dark moon, and the dark moon gives us a pause, and it gives us an opportunity to let go, as I've been saying. So right now, in the conclusion of our ceremony together, I'd like you to think in your own heart something that you would like to turn over to this dark moon, this blood red moon that's come to help us with the energies of letting go and cleansing, and then coming into the sun shining again in a bright new way in your life. So right now, be thinking of that next step that you need to take. It's a step of letting go and walking on through into a new way of being. We're going to sing the last song that you can sing along with, If I Had a Hammer. So it's got a lot of oomph to it, this song, and it's that feeling that, was it Peter, Paul, and Mary brought to us, that still is, rising up in us, that we have something to do. And it may be a hammer that we're going to be pounding on a building, and it may be, something big in each one of our lives and in our collective lives, but tune into it right now. Picture the dark moon in our center and honor her, and let's sing this song in that closing ritual way.
There's going to be a moment where it's going to be a collective whistle solo. So be ready for that. Sing with me. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd bring out danger, I'd bring out a warning, I'd bring out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Here is whistle solo. I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out of danger, I'd sing out of warning, I'd sing out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Now I've got a hammer, and I've got a bell, and I've got a song to sing all over this land. It's a hammer of justice, it's a bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Let's do that again. got a hammer and I've got a bell, and I've got a song to sing all over this land. It's a hymn of justice, it's a bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. It's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. It's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land.
Saying that you'd like to say goodbye to me as you go or something, so I'm going to start a new tradition of standing back there, so come talk to me.